Arsene Wenger has warned Tottenham they may have to sell star striker Harry Kane to pay for their new stadium. Spurs have insisted throughout the process of moving to their £800 million stadium, which they will kick off the new season in, that they do not have to sell their prized talent to fund the move. However, Wenger, who was at the Arsenal helm when the club moved from Highbury to the Emirates, is well aware of how such a project can leave a manager with one hand tied behind his back in the transfer market. The prices for the stadiums have doubled, but the transfers of the players have tripled or quadrupled, he said ahead of his final match as Arsenal manager, away to Huddersfield on Sunday. Wenger looks back on Arsenal career ahead of last game in charge. A £10 million player when we built the stadium was huge. Today a guy like Kane, I don't know for how much they can sell him. £100 million? So they might get more supply. But they have to face it. Will they have to sell players? Even to Arsenal maybe? Wenger was at the Arsenal helm in 2006 when the club completed their £390 million move to the Emirates, a period which coincided with Arsenal fading away from the title contention they invariably found themselves in during their final seasons at Highbury. After much speculation, Arsenal appoint Wenger, their first manager from outside the UK Premier League, 3rd FA Cup, 4th round UEFA Cup, 1st round. Arsenal win the double in Wenger's first season in charge, following their 1971 success. Premier League, Champions FA Cup, winners UEFA Cup. First round. Wenger ends the season trophyless after twice being pipped by Alex Ferguson. Premier League, 2nd FA Cup, semi-finals. Champions League, group stage. Arsenal finish well behind Manchester United in the league and exit Europe at the hands of Fiorentina. Premier League, 2nd FA Cup, 4th round. Champions League, group stage. Michael Owen strikes late to end their FA Cup dreams, but the signing of Robert Pires heralds a bright new era for Arsenal. Premier League, 2nd FA Cup, finalists. Champions League, quarter-final. Wenger wins his second league and cup double as Arsenal win their last 13 league games. Premier League, winners FA Cup, winners Champions League, second group stage. Man United overhaul Arsenal in a season where the FA Cup is not enough for this side. Premier League, 2nd FA Cup, winners Champions League, second group stage. Arsenal go unbeaten throughout a league season, the first side to do so since the 1880s. Premier League, winners FA Cup, semi-finals. Champions League, quarter-finals. Arsenal win the FA Cup in Patrick Vieira's final season while Chelsea emerge as their new rivals. Premier League, 2nd FA Cup, winners Champions League, round of 16. Arsenal nearly crown their last season at Highbury with victory in the Champions League, but are forced to settle for runners-up to Barcelona and Wenger's lowest league finish. Premier League, 4th FA Cup, 4th round. Champions League, finalists. In his final season at the club, Thierry Henry led a youthful side to a creditable 4th place, but the gap to Chelsea and Manchester United seemed to be growing. Premier League, 4th FA Cup, 5th round. League Cup, finalists. Champions League, round of 16. A horrifying leg break for Eduardo against Birmingham in February curtailed a season that had seen Arsenal challenge for the title. Premier League, 3rd FA Cup, 5th round. Champions League, quarter-finals. Samir Nasri and Andre Arshavin arrived in big money deals, but a poor start left Arsenal well off the pace domestically. Premier League, 4th FA Cup, semi-finals. Champions League, semi-finals. An impressive squad was hampered by injuries to the likes of Robin van Persie, Thomas Rosicky and Cesc Fabregas as success continued to elude Wenger. Premier League, 3rd FA Cup, 4th round. Champions League, quarter-finals. 6 years without a trophy became 7 as a calamitous mix-up between Laurent Koscielny and Wojciech Szczesny saw Birmingham win the League Cup final. Premier League, 4th FA Cup, 6th round. League Cup, finalists. Champions League, Round of 16. Robin van Persie provides excitement on his way to 37 goals and the Golden Boot before departing for Manchester United in the summer. Premier League, 3rd FA Cup, 5th round Champions League, round of 16. Arsenal hauled in their local rivals, cutting a 7-point gap in 10 games, to secure their customary Champions League spot. Premier League, 4th FA Cup, 5th round Champions League, round of 16. The arrival of Mesut Ozil brought excitement to the Emirates, and a season that saw Arsenal mount a major title challenge ended with an FA Cup trophy. Premier League, 4th FA Cup, Winners' Champions League, round of 16. Alexis Sanchez added more world-class talent, but Arsenal were once more forced to settle for cup and not league success. Premier League, 3rd FA Cup, Winners' Champions League, round of 16. Arsenal disappointed in the title race as Leicester held their nerve for a stunning triumph, but there was late joy for the Gunners as they celebrated St Totteringham's Day due to Spurs' late collapse. Premier League, 2nd FA Cup, 5th round Champions League, round of 16. Wenger faced fan mutiny as his side failed to keep pace with the top 6. Though as ever they turned it around in the closing months of the season, it was too little too late as they fell short of the top 4 for the first time in the Frenchman's reign. An FA Cup win over Chelsea eased the pressure somewhat as Wenger and the Arsenal board agreed a 2-year deal to keep the Frenchman in charge. Premier League, 5th FA Cup, Winners' Champions League, round of 16. A slow start in the Premier League only got worse in the new year, where Arsenal lost all of their first 8 Premier League games on the road. With the top 4 slipping further away, Wenger announced he would leave at the end of what ended up as his worst season at the club. Premier League, 6th FA Cup, 3rd round League Cup, finalists Europa League, semi-finals. Finances were especially tight if the first 7 years after the club departed their home, but Wenger has no regrets. "I believe Highbury had a special spirit," he said. "It's a cathedral, a church. You could smell the soul of every guy that played there. So it was special. It will always be special for me. The Emirates for me was like buying a new house. It took us a while to feel at home there. It's a fantastic stadium, but there was something special at Highbury that you could never recreate when you build something new. But we had to do it. There is no club that can turn people who wanted to attend the game down. At the time I thought we were a bit too ambitious with 60,000, but at the end of the day it worked.